There are tons of great movies in cinema history, but sometimes the story behind the movie is even more interesting. Welcome to this new series. This is the story, and I'm sticking to it here on Classic Cinema Plus. Today, we're talking about Planet of the Apes, the original movie. This is going to be fun. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let's jump into this. So, Planet of the Apes was a really ambitious film for 20th Century Fox. Producer Arthur P. Jacobs had the idea to bring Pierre Boulle's novel, Planet of the Apes, to the big screen. But the problem was, when you look at Pierre Boulle's novel, and then think about it in the grander scheme of things when it comes to bringing it to the big screen in 1968, you're talking quite the interesting task. Because Pierre Boulle's novel was really overly imaginative. Let's put it that way. We're taking it that you've watched Planet of the Apes, the 1968 film. If you're watching this, maybe you haven't read Pierre Boulle's novel, but we'll talk about that a little bit. But Pierre Boulle's novel and the Planet of the Apes that we see in the 1968 film, complete different thing. Okay, it's easier to write ambitious things in a novel. It's a whole different thing to try to put it on screen for a low budget. And let's be honest, if even on a high budget, to try to get Pierre Boulle's novel to translate and to put on screen, even in 1968, was going to be a trouble, because it was so ambitious. It was so crazy. It was so amazing. But what we've got with Planet of the Apes was a tremendous adaptation. Okay, so let's kind of just take a step back and kind of talk about Pierre Boulle's novel first before we do anything. Okay, so there had to be a lot of changes if you were going to bring it to film. Okay, we got to remember that in the original novel, the person that would end up playing Taylor in the film was actually a French journalist named Ulysses. Okay, and that was the first change that would have to be made. Second change was that there in the movie people wore animal skins. In the novel, they basically run around naked. There was nothing there. Okay, that would be very hard to translate and put on film and get a even a PG rating. In 1968, you'd have been talking X-rated film. So that was going to have to change. In the movie, the apes speak English. Well, see, in Pierre Boulle's novel, they have their own language, and it's complete. And so Ulysses has to kind of learn their language. Ape society is extremely sophisticated. I mean, so much so they got like flying machines and they got all kinds of machinery and scientists and all this type of stuff, and it's overly amazing, right? And when you get down to it, not to spoil the book for those that haven't seen it, but in the novel, Ulysses would escape Planet of the Apes, if you will. And I should note that another interesting thing that makes it different too is, as you have hopefully watched the original Planet of the Apes film, whichever case there you want. Anyway, because I love that film, so that's why I got different copies of it. But anyway, but we're taking that you've seen it. So if you've seen the film, then you know that Planet of the Apes is actually Earth. In Pierre Boulle's novel, it's not Earth. It's a separate, like a planet somewhere in the solar system, Beetlejuice. Okay, Beetlejuice. Not that one. It's the solar system Beetlejuice. Okay, so anyway, so what we got is a completely different film. Why? How did this come about? Well, they brought in the classic, the amazing creator of one of my favorite science fiction film or series of all time, Rod Serling, to adapt this film to this novel to film. And for what it is, for 1968, and in my perfect opinion, in my honest opinion, I'm going to tell you something. I think Rod Serling did a miraculous job with this film. I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. It is just great. I think the more primitive society really lends itself to more of a type of thing where you feel like this is actually happening. You look at ape society and you see all this and all this advanced society. It does sometimes lend itself to be a little more out of this world. But this is more of a wow, like this could actually happen type thing. And that's what Planet of the Apes is. It is so well produced. And let's talk about the makeup for just a little bit. The makeup of Planet of the Apes, if that didn't work, none of this would have worked. And let's be honest, Planet of the Apes, the the movie, it works because of how amazing the makeup is. It's you believe it. When you watch it, you don't look and see people in makeup, in ape makeup. You actually believe what you're seeing. It is that well. And it still holds up. 1968 film still holds up in 2025 as we're recording this. I mean, it does. It just holds up. Now, what we talked about is, if you've watched it, hopefully you've watched this film, you know the ending of the film, Planet of the Apes, how that Taylor finds out that this is Earth and how shocking that is. Okay? That's not the way it happened in Pierre Boulle's novel. Of course it couldn't, because Pierre Boulle's novel takes place in a planet in the solar system Beetlejuice. Not this one. But, it's interesting. So how does this all take place? Well, to spoil the book a little bit, I'm sorry, but it is. To spoil the book, Ulysses finds a human, Nova, okay, and they fall in love, and then he takes one of the spaceships of the apes and flies back to Earth. Well, when he gets back to Earth, he finds out that Earth has went into the future and apes have now taken over. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Tim Burton's version of Planet of the Apes. You remember that? Well, some of you would say, let's not even talk about that one. But the idea is that's kind of what it is. It's completely different. It's a completely different thing. But I will say that I honestly believe that Rod Serling took this amazing novel from Pierre Boulle and changed it, but really changed it to make it work, and work so well. Now, Pierre Boulle, let's be honest, Arthur B. Jacobs, the producer, went to Pierre Boulle with the script, and he said, I want you to read the script that Rod Serling has done of the film, and he read it, and his idea, his response to it was the film should be dismissed in its entirety, because it was not the same type of thing. But let's be honest, Pierre Boulle was an amazing writer. He's known for the amazing novel Bridge on the River Kwai, but Planet of the Apes was not his favorite. But yet he still had that thing that he wanted it to be authentic. And let's be honest, in 1968, there was no way under the sun that they were going to be able to make an authentic version of Planet of the Apes from the novel on film. There was no way it was going to happen. I don't even know if you could do it realistic. You might be able to do it a little more realistically in this generation with the idea of CGI. CGI's come a long way, as we know, with the newer Planet of the Apes films. But it would be very expensive. Could it be done? I don't know. I'm not much into that, but I will say this. I would like to see a actual film adaptation of Pierre Boulle's novel on screen. A straight, to the point, absolute 100% authentic version of that film of that novel on film. I think that would be really cool. Will that ever happen? Probably not, but I think it would be kind of cool to see. This is the story, and I'm sticking to it. This is just a look back at some of the classic films, and we're going to take you on a little history lesson on these. So if you like these type of things, please, please, please be sure to share, subscribe, and comment. Tell us what your favorite Planet of the Apes film is. Give us an idea of what kind of a film you'd like us to cover on a future episode of This is the Story and We're Sticking to It. Let us know. We would like to hear from you. And be sure to go to Classic Cinema Plus. Check out our full reviews of all kinds of physical media releases. We have tons of them up there. You can go check that out. And as always, subscribe. We would appreciate it. And until we're with you next time for another one of these episodes or a physical media spotlight, this is Jason reminding you that if you want to see a great film or a TV series, check out a classic. And we'll see you next time for another This is the Story, and I'm sticking to it. We'll see you next time. Bye.